Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with the Warriors of Chaos, going to be taking on the Dark Elves, and we've taken good old Sigvald here, who made Turin's top 5 list of worst legendary lords. I agree that he's not super flexible, but I don't know that I would put him in that top 5 list because, number 1, he's dirt cheap, and number 2, he offers healing. He also has pretty decent combat stats overall, not the best AP values, but good melee defense, which of course is very important. And again, he heals, and he's also immune to psychology, all of which are very good traits to have. Yeah. To help support Sigvald, of course, we've got his Mirror Guard. Wouldn't be complete without them. We've got a Chaos Sorcerer of Death here. He's got Spirit Leech and Soul Blight, the Soul of Damnation, Summoners of Rage, Chaos Marauders mixed with Chosen, everybody with shields here. We've also got 2 Marauder Horsemen on this left and 2 more over on the right. So, for the Dark Elves here that we're up against, Malekith up on his dragon. Let's have a look at his spell loadout here. Power of Darkness, Chill Wind, Blade Wind, and Soul Stealer, so a pretty heavy loadout from him. He's also got, in terms of items here, does look like Circlet of Iron, not too bad. Blades of the Blood Queen here, currently taking some fire from that Hell Cannon. We've also got some Dread Spears and more Executioners, a single Witch Elf, more Dread Spears in the back. Over on the right side, we've got a Cab Force of the Slaanesh Harvesters and Cold One Knights, very strong, especially with that Word of Pain. They can really put some pain down, no pun intended. We've also got 2 units of Harpies, 2, just 1, maybe just the 1. And yeah, that's pretty much it, so let's get things rolling. You can see the Dark Elves, of course, with a very rush-focused build. No range units at all, going to be coming straight in here. The Marauders with Javelins, they don't do armor piercing, per se, but they do pretty decent AP values. 7 AP per shot. It's pretty high for Missile Cav. Granted, they don't have a whole lot of ammunition, but you can see some missed micro by me here, as they're actually going to get caught by those Executioners momentarily. Meanwhile, on this other side, I'm doing a bit better. We're skirmishing with these Slaanesh Harvesters and the Marauder Horsemen, doing a pretty decent job, doing some good damage there, very cost effective. Meanwhile, these other Marauder Horsemen are pulled away there before they're all sacrificed to the Chaos Gods, but about half of the one group there went down, so not great. But the Blades of the Blood Queen definitely suffering some casualties as well. Malekith tries to come down here. He does get a few of the Marauders, but with my forces on station, he's not going to want to stay and fight here. Might take a few javelins to the face as well, although it looks like those are actually going into the Harpies instead. But yeah, we'll grab a quick cinematic shot of these Blades of the Blood Queen as they get a brutal shot right in the center, taking out quite a few unit models there. So pretty good stuff so far. Malekith did drop a Dragon Breath on the Soul of Damnation. Thankfully for me, did not actually take down the cannon itself, but anyway, you can see Marauder Horsemen maneuvering out and around the side here, still doing some great damage to those Slaanesh Harvesters. Really expensive unit that I can pick away at with these guys, and of course with their low armor it'll be very cost effective. Going to bring the Summoners of Rage over here to kind of meet this mobility engagement here, and with their massive stats and their huge anti-large AP, they are going to do a number. Their magic attacks also go straight through the physical resistance of the Slaanesh Harvesters there. Malekith comes down. My intention was to lock him in place with these Marauder Horsemen, see if we couldn't save the Soul of Damnation, but the crew, so few in number, probably going to get taken out here. Meanwhile, the Marauder Horsemen maneuvering around the flank here to start throwing their javelins in the back. You can see they're doing good damage to these Hargoneth Executioners, despite the fact, again, they're quote-unquote non-AP missiles. But Soul Stealer going down. Thankfully for me, it didn't go down on my Heroic Pocket here. It was instead cast on those Marauder Horsemen, which was definitely a nice get for me. You can see Malekith here does get tagged by these Summoners of Rage, which is going to keep him on the ground momentarily. He took maybe an attack or 2 there, which is going to do some pretty good damage. He's taken quite a bit. We're spamming that Spirit Leech on him as well, just to try and take him down since he's such an expensive high-value target. We're going to try and keep these Summoners of Rage on station to respond to him, although this left flank has collapsed here. The Chosen on the right side holding out very well with the missile support, of course. Another Spirit Leech going down, and the Mirror Guard holding up the center very well. The Marauders have been taking some hits for them, but now the Mirror Guard are going to start to move in, and they'll clean up these Dread Spears no problem. They'll also do okay. Nasty Dragon Breath coming down, though, from Malekith, doing about half their HP in damage, so maybe not at the end of the day. chill wind as well, just to follow things up. But yeah, this time unfortunately the Summoners of Rage are going to take a lot more damage. I think Word of Pain may be going down on them. No, not actually, but Malekith does charge down. They unleash their Chain Lightning in this center pocket here, which helps clean out some of these Hargoneth Executioners and Witch Elves that were clogged around Sigvald there. But yeah, unfortunately the Summoners of Rage, so few in number, just against such greater numbers of cav, are going to get dragged down here. They've got quite a bit of work done, 77 kills overall. But yeah, they're going to pretty much get chased off at this point. Still another Spirit Leech going down. Javelins being thrown at Malekith. You can see them coming in here. So the Witch King of Nagaron's going to try and get back up in the air. He's in the air here. He's getting pretty low on HP, and honestly the Dark Elf forces, although I'm looking pretty low, the balance of power is still relatively even. There's mostly just a health unit of Dread Spears. Most everything else is getting pretty low, and I still do have quite a bit of ammo left on these Marauder Horsemen, so the Javelins should come in clutch here in the late game. And of course Sigvald still having quite a bit of healing cap space left. If Malekith tries to come down to goon Sigvald, he may not necessarily like that. You can see some Chosen holding out here, kind of the last resistance along with Sigvald. But yeah, Malekith does indeed come down, try and goon Sigvald, but that's easier said than done, and he's going to take another Spirit Leech here. So essentially he's on a clock. Because he's been using his magic on things other than Soul Stealer and Power of Darkness, he's not going to have quite the self-healing enough to last in this late game here. He does throw down one more Soul Stealer, it looks like, giving him a little bit of healing to hang around in this very late game engagement, but you can see the balance of power starting to tilt more and more as the remains of the Dark Elf infantry here start to just get javelin down and cut up by the last of the forces here. So yeah, we've got some rallying, Marauders and so forth, even some Chosen, I believe. The Mirror Guard actually coming back. But yeah, the Harpy's going to try and clog things up here, but they honestly won't do a whole lot. There's just way too many models here for them to really be effective. Word of Pain goes down on Sigvald himself, but Malekith's able to pull away there, but he's just so low on leadership at this point. You can see the balance of power starting to tilt, and the rear charges from these Marauder Horsemen, as well as the fact that there's just so many models of them left, makes it pretty tough for the Dark Elves to finish things here. So it is going to be a victory for Sigvald and Chaos, and yeah, honestly, Sigvald, yeah, he's one-dimensional, but I honestly think that he doesn't deserve to be on the top 5 worst lords list. I do think that there's other lords that are worse, but you know, that's the fun of all of this, is Turin's got his opinion, I've got mine, and we all love to discuss these sorts of things and play them out in battle. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. It's a fun matchup, you know. Dark Elves versus Chaos is probably the two, you know, number 1 and number 2 factions in my eyes. Probably. The Empire has an argument for being up there now, but definitely these two factions are very, very strong, and duking it out with the two of them can be a lot of fun, certainly. Malekith cleaning up 98 kills there, doing pretty well, although, again, he's a very expensive target. The Hargoneth Executioners in certain situations did pretty well, although 86 kills and no XP chevrons means they mostly just cut up a whole bunch of Marauders. But the other two units doing okay. The Blades of Blood Queen, despite the damage taken from the Soul of Damnation, still managed to rack up a lot of kills, and these guys are legit. I mean, they're just about as scary as Chosen with great weapons, which is saying something. They also have Guardian, which is, you know, always nice. The Cav force of my opponent did pretty well initially. I mean, they did have that poor engagement, but I had to pull back the Summoners of Rage to deal with Malekith. They were then able to collapse that flank pretty hard, but just didn't have the lasting power at the end of the day to finish off like the Marauder Horsemen and so on. The Harpies, I'm not really sure what they were doing. They could have been used against the Marauder Horsemen, although they'll take a lot of damage coming in because the Marauder Horsemen just have good missile damage overall. So it could potentially be pretty rough in that way, and Marauder Horsemen are not necessarily pushovers in terms of their combat stats as compared to, say, like Goblin Wolf Riders or even like Empire Pistoliers are worse in combat. So there's a bit of give and take there, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What would you do to counter this build? I mean, obviously there's a lot of different ways you can go about this particular matchup. The idea here behind this build is we've got the shields to block a lot of armor-piercing missiles. If my opponent decides to go that route, we do have some mobility to, you know, engage on that front as well. Maybe do some skirmishing with some low armor, high value targets, which the Dark Elves have plenty of. Of course, the Soul of Damnation is more of a fun pick. I don't know that that's necessarily super competitive in this particular matchup, but if your opponent decides not to counter artillery you know, counter artillery fire you with the Reaper bolt throwers, then it can potentially get some good work done as your enemy approaches, if the terrain allows, that is. But yeah, Summoner's Rage, pretty much always a safe pick. I like Chosen with shields in most matchups. I think they're pretty decent. And since we had the Soul Blight on the Death Sorcerer, I didn't really feel the need to bring AP infantry per se. We ended up using most of the magic for Spirit Leeching Malekith anyway, but again, he's such an expensive target in the guise my opponent brought him in here that yeah, it'll be rough regardless. So fun stuff though. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do enjoy this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.